HBO has released the 4th episode of House of the Dragon Season 2, which is probably the best episode of the season so far. So this review will definitely contain spoilers for what happens in the episode, meaning that if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, then I suggest that you turn this video off now and do yourself the favor of watching House of the Dragon instead. But the episode mainly focuses on Sir Criston Cole as he mounts a campaign into the Crown Lands. He's gathering people to his cause, killing those unwilling to pledge to his cause, and basically causing a lot of chaos for Team Black. So the Black Council is struggling to keep their shit together, especially since Rhaenyra has not yet returned from her trip to King's Landing in the last episode. Not to mention that Daemon is failing to raise an army of his own and is having terribly ominous visions at Harrenhal instead. So Rhaenys is trying to keep the peace on the Black Council, proving that she is an indispensable asset that the Blacks cannot afford to lose. Unfortunately, Aemond, along with the other members of the Green Council, have all undermined Aegon's fragile hold on authority. No one cares about what he thinks because nobody takes him seriously. Even his own mother tells him that the only thing he has to do to be a good king is nothing, which is a response that Aegon was definitely not expecting to hear, and one that came as a huge blow to his frail ego. But Alicent is beginning to question whether Aegon should have been named king in the first place, and he hasn't exactly done anything to relieve her doubts. So in order to try and prove his own worth, Aegon decides to join Criston Cole on the battlefield, which leads to one of the best action sequences in all of Game of Thrones history. Because Rhaenyra sends Rhaenys to meet Criston Cole on the battlefield, hoping to stop his conquest of the Riverlands, and she ends up falling for a trap instead. Aemon and Vhagar are eagerly awaiting the arrival of a dragon, and Rhaenyra provides them with exactly that. But the battle that ensues is a glorious spectacle that rivals the Battle of the Bastards. Only this time, we get to see dragon warfare, and it is totally gnarly. It even proves to be a different kind of fighting that vetted soldiers like Criston Cole are used to. Because nothing that happens on the battlefield is as important as what is happening in the skies above. And what happens up there is totally brutal. Meleys manages to do some serious damage to Aegon's dragon Sunfire, but not before Aemond arrives with Vhagar, and the entire dynamic of the fight changes. Aegon is taken out rather quickly by friendly fire. Whether Aemond used Aegon as collateral damage or seized an opportunity to weaken him remains to be seen, and while Meleys is able to stand her ground against Vhagar, managing to briefly knock the beast out of the sky, she does ultimately end up dying with Rhaenys. It's a tragic and horrifying sight to see, and while I personally wish that Rhaenys would have fled the battle in order to live on another day, especially since she did have the opportunity to do that, I understand why she ultimately stayed to fight. She's a warrior. If she was able to kill Vhagar in this battle, she would have effectively ended the war. The Blacks would win, Rhaenyra would be queen, and all of the fighting would be over. She saw a chance to end this conflict and took it. It's just a shame that she unfortunately failed. And her death is going to be a huge loss for Rhaenyra and the Blacks. I mean, Aegon also got severely injured during the battle, but I don't think that's going to constitute a major loss for the Greens. Because now that Aegon is seriously wounded, he can go on to do exactly what the Greens need him to do. Nothing. So while this episode was exciting and thrilling as hell, it also serves as a reminder that war costs lives. And while I will definitely miss Rhaenys's presence in the show, I can't deny that I thought this action-packed episode was a genuinely awesome one. I've been waiting to see some dragons dance, and this episode finally delivered on that front. So I cannot wait to see what happens on the next episode of House of the Dragon once it gets released on Sunday evening.